And so what is that? You bring them to a place where they did not clean this house to come and sit. They did not prepare the food to feast. They did not. And so you're saying, look at what the Lord has given you. I'm showing you a picture of Christ. You're coming into a land that you did not cultivate. You're coming to a table where you did not prepare the food. Yet I'm telling you, I want you to come and I want you to feast with me. I want to get to know you. I want to serve you. And then what is that a picture of? Come and welcome to Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Like, this is what Christ, and it's, again, what you're saying, like, this is a picture of the gospel. This is, come taste and see that the Lord is good. Come enjoy my feast with me. Come enjoy the bread that, we've made. Come enjoy the beans from our garden that we worked on all summer. Come and enjoy. We want to share this abundance with you. Look at what the Lord has done. And it's not a picture of us. It's a picture that is supposed to drive them to the ultimate goal of hospitality, is the picture of the gospel, and it's gratefulness.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Feminine Glory podcast. I am one of your hosts, Lydia Edmonds, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Esther Edmonds.
Good morning, everybody.
And we have...
Or whenever you're listening to this. It's morning for us on the recording of this.
It's true. Yes, we have an episode on hospitality planned for today.
Yep.
So, Esther, why did we want to... We've addressed it before in some of our earlier episodes. Mm-hmm. In the interviews that we did with people like Bess Hawthorne. I think we addressed it a bit with Angela. So why did we want to talk about hospitality today?
Because the blessed world of social media mm-hmm. has started, well, I say started. It's been coming, I feel like, more and more popular, mm-hmm. is to embrace this idea of do as little as possible in hospitality, and that's enough. So, like, I'm sure you guys have seen the reels. If any of you are on social media at all, where it's usually like, here's what you can do to make your guests feel more comfortable. And it'll be like a reel of like, stop feeling like you have to do everything. Stop feeling like you have to clean your house. Let them see the authentic you. So it's like, if there's laundry, they shouldn't care. If there's laundry on the bathroom floor, they shouldn't care. If you've got dusty shelves, then, that's completely fine, because they're seeing your natural habitat. They're seeing the authentic you. And it actually makes people uncomfortable if they, if you get your house ready to the nines, and if you bring out the fine china, it'll make them feel uncomfortable and not at home. You just need to throw them into the family. Or like, there will be some where it's like, let them bring things, let them, whatever it might be. Or it'll be like, stop trying to do everything. You'll wear yourself out. And so just don't feel bad about bringing out the paper plates, and about just basically like, be okay by doing the bare minimum. And actually, then the way it's spun is like, that'll make people feel at home.
More enjoyable time.
Yeah, as if you like make it feel like make it basically, I think the gist is, which is really sad, is like, make it seem like it's how they grew up.
I saw
like, pizza's been delivered, throw it on the table. Here are the paper plates if you want one, or you could just eat out of the box. Like, this is Friday, this is whatever, like, this is dinner, or like, I went and picked up takeout, and I'm just gonna divvy it up on the paper plates, and I'm gonna bring it to you, and there's dinner.
I saw one, actually, well, someone sent me one that it was like, there was a semi-long caption, and but part of it said, hospitality should feel like any other night. So the Thursday night dinner party is what this is. And it's this woman putting, I guess, like, we're gonna roast some veggies on a sheet pan or whatever, and her hair is all disheveled in a bun on her head, and she's wearing some sort of weird looking sweatshirt, and so, but I'm like, the fact
she fit what she was saying.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But the idea that it's just like any other night, mm-hmm. like, just the simple, the house is chaotic, a mess, is if you as a Christian practice that, shame on you.
Okay. before we get into the listeners, before you turn us off, we need to give the preface here, I feel like, as to why that would be a bad thing. So why when we see something like that, would that immediately, as a Christian, why would that be a bad thing? Because if I'm thinking charitably of people, it would be like, well, at least you're doing hospitality. Like at least you're doing it. And if getting your house ready to the nines is going to wear you down and you're not going to actually be hospitable, then wouldn't it be better just to like lower the standard and then, then at least you're practicing hospitality, at least you're obeying God in that way? Why would it be important as to say, fold the laundry, dust the house, clean off the counters, sweep the floor? Why would it be important to not be simple in your hospitality?
Okay. How do you want, there's an order of importance here. Do you want it from, I don't know about least, but do you want the most important point last or first?
You can go last.
There's many reasons, so bear with me and feel free to chime in, and we'll just try to get to as many of them as we can. But for one, it's when you come to a house like that, like for us, I think for many people, they say it's like they feel more comforted, but when you really stop to examine these situations, it looks as if you didn't prepare for me. You didn't take the time to care that I was coming enough to prepare for me, to clean your house, to, like, it's just paper plates. So it shows a carelessness. There's a lack of love there. And so part of the reason the command of hospitality is given, I was listening to a great sermon, we'll link it, is that's how God has commanded us to show love to one another. I believe that's in 1 Peter. And so there's a lack of love there. There's a lack of thoughtfulness. So that's one. That's why you shouldn't be simple. That's how you love on the body, is hospitality. So that's part of the reason why, not to say you shouldn't ever ask someone to bring something. Sometimes it's like if you're throwing a big event and someone does really good at this particular type of salad, and it's like they do a great job at all of these ingredients or this specific type of dressing, and you want help. I'm not saying it's a sin to ask someone to bring something to a big party you're throwing. But that shouldn't be the case every time. Everywhere someone's going, they shouldn't be having to bring food. Like, you should love on them enough to say, no, we just want to serve you. We want, as Christ served, we want to serve you. So one, love and serving. Two, it goes back to another fundamental problem of you're not actually loving your family either. So, to say that we're going to make hospitality just like any other night shows me you are not showing hospitality and love to your children.
That is a big one, because I think that then, so like there are some people where, maybe they're not in the stage of life where they can host people outside of their family for a time. That we had Beth Hawthorne to talk about hospitality. It was a great episode, so if you haven't listened to it, I would highly recommend going back. She had some great pointers. But one of the things that she said was, one of the things to remember as a mom is that you are practicing hospitality to your kids. You should be practicing hospitality to your kids. And so that is really important, because it's like, so let's back up. One of the issues here, like you're talking about, is if that is your norm for the home, that is bad. That is really bad. And so we're showing, like, if you come to our house, right? We host people as a family, and we like to get out the fine china. We like to get out, and actually hospitality hot tip here. At least in the place where we live, it's a little bit of a, I would say some of the people here have some nicer things. And so one of the things, though, that they have is a lot of really nice glassware that they don't use. And so they get rid of it because, like, the typical American family is paper plates and pizza on Friday night from wherever, which is not a bad thing, but that's occasionally, but that's like that's the norm. Like we're talking about is like the laundry's everywhere, and we're just gonna throw the food on a plate and here you go, and go watch TV or go do your homework while you eat. No fellowship around the table. But because of that fact, they get rid of a lot of their really nice glasses, and we found some really nice goblets and toasting glasses that we used for Sabbath, but they were like, I don't know, like $3 for 4, and it was really nice. And so a hospitality hot tip would be, go to your like local Goodwill, because we thrifted these, or wherever you have thrift stores that's maybe in some of the nicer areas where people might have done that, and you can get some really nice glass dishes, and we even found some plates like that, like tons of plates. I think we have like, I don't know, 14. Did we get 14 at one time? Something like that.
The clear ones?
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
I don't remember how many, but you can get some really nice things. And so I would say that would be a hospitality hot tip if you are nervous, because I know sometimes people can get nervous about getting out the fine china with kids. And so we like to set the parents' minds at ease of like, don't worry, this was like $2. You're fine.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if they break it, it's fine. We'll go get more. Don't worry about it. So I would say that would be a hospitality hot tip. But that being said, we like to dress it up. And some people have like told us, like, some people say thank you, and some people say like, some people make comments about it, but I feel like the overwhelming, usually what we get is like, thank you. And it's because we're showing them like, but then we're showing them that this should be the standard. Like, if you're hosting somebody, this should be like, for us, this is the standard, because this is what we've done as a family. Like, on Sabbath, you can ask anyone in our family, whether or not we're hosting people for Sabbath dinner or not, there's almost always the fine china out. We actually, if there's not the fine china, something's wrong. It's usually like someone's feeling bad, or not everyone's going to be at home for Sabbath dinner. And people are this way, that way, because like last Saturday, we didn't have Sabbath dinner. We had some different things to tend to, and people were crazy and everywhere, and it was very chaotic. And so it's like, we didn't have the fine china dinner. But that's usually a norm for us. And so that was a long tangent to say that it shouldn't be the paper plates like that, which there's nothing sinful with paper plates. It's just, if that's the norm and you're not trying to bless your family and be hospitable to your family, then that's a really big issue as to why then that would make you feel at home.
Because for a couple things. For one, like, there have been times for us, using paper plates is the most hospitable thing we can all do to serve each other. Like, that is what's best for our family. But it's just a small season. It's like, we've been in the garden all day, and really the kinder thing for everyone is paper plates tonight, and a fun, like, eat on a 6-foot outside, enjoy a fire pit, whatever, and that's what works. But when you take the time to actually show people, like, when the reason we even do this is, for one, it is an overflow of what we do in our home, our parents wanting us to be welcomed at the table, to show them that the culture of our family, the culture of our home, the reason our relationships are the way they are is because we enjoy table fellowship. We delighted in the good gifts that God has given us. And so we're showing other people, we want you to enjoy this too. We enjoy this so much that we want you to have such a fun time having 3 different forks to choose from on the table setting, and 2 spoon and fork at the top, and a knife. And like, we want you to have such a great time, even maybe, and laugh at the fact that we're confused about what fork to use. Like, but we're all going to work through it, because this is enjoyable. God has given us these gifts, and honestly, it's so fun. And even when we do, like, we just all greatly delight in having a wonderful time. And once again, it's not to say that, you need to have 3 different plates and all of the forks on every weeknight, but for Pete's sake, please make it nice. Like, candles, very inexpensive, great way to dress up a table. Some sort of fun centerpiece. Even if you buy like fake flowers, they make really nice fake flowers now that you could use to adorn your table. Placemats. Esther makes beautiful placemats. So, like, there's fun things you can do that doesn't have to be all the dishware, but that you can show people, I care that you're at my table, and I care that you have a fun time at my table.
And it's like, this is what we love, and so we want you to enjoy what we love. Like, this is how we enjoy a Sabbath dinner. This is how we get blessed. And so we're going to bless you with the same things that we've been blessed by. And so, but I'm sorry, I derailed you from your point. So that was point number 2.
Point number 3.
You're going to the order of importance.
Point number 3 would be that hospitality is also, once again, this is part of what I had heard in this Toby Sumter sermon, was that this is part of how God has commanded us to declare the gospel to others.
Yep.
So we serve because we have been served. We give because we have been given in abundance from the Lord. And so to say that hospitality is like, I just feel like you're saying, okay, if it's a picture of how Christ has served you, that is a horrid picture of the love and care and hospitality that we have been shown from the Father.
This is an amazing segue into one of my points that I wanted to share.
Oh, go ahead, yes.
So I was reading a delightful book, which will be talked about later on in the podcast. But one of the passages it referenced was in Deuteronomy 8. And I thought this was a terrific point. God was so gracious and fun to have blessed me with this morning. Actually, in preparation, it was hilarious because I was like, this ties right into what we're talking about, and I wanted to share it. So, Deuteronomy 8. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Okay, verse 7. And then this is gonna tie in beautifully to your point, Lydia, which is I think, if we could pinpoint it, one of the biggest beef we have when people view hospitality as just doing the bare minimum. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a land of brooks of water, of fountains and of springs that flow out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land in which you will eat bread without scarcity, in which you will lack nothing, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you can dig copper. When you have eaten and are full, then you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land which he has given you. Beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments, his judgments, and his statutes, which I command you today, lest when you have eaten and are full, and have built beautiful houses and dwell in them, and when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold are multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, when your heart is lifted up, and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led you through that great and terrible wilderness, in which were fiery serpents and scorpions, and thirsty land, where there was no water, who brought water for you out of the flinty rock, who fed you with the wilderness in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers did not know, that he might humble you and that he might test you to do good in the end. Then you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hand have gave me this wealth. And it keeps going. But I think the fundamental point there, and I think there's another point, and I forgot exactly which part of the Bible this is in, which verse, but it was talking about how the Lord brought them into the place where there was houses that they did not build and fields that they did not sow.
Oh yeah, I think it's awesome. I think passages like that are a couple times in Deuteronomy.
And so they did nothing to make that land what it was. Right? Like the Lord had unbelievers cultivate this land, knowing that then he was going to drive them out for his chosen people. And they were able, like the Lord provided them with manna. They had to do nothing except just get out in the morning and gather it, trusting the Lord that the next day he was going to provide them with the manna. And I think that is a beautiful picture of hospitality, is that when you gather people to your table, when you just tell them, just come to my house. Like one of the things people will say, like, can we bring anything to dinner? And we always, more often than not, sometimes if they're really pushing, and especially we have some friends that are older than we are that they love bringing stuff, and especially if we've doted upon them for a specific thing, they'll be like, can I bring this? And so then of course you're like, yeah, of course.
And for them it's more so they love to bless other people. Yep. And so I'm gonna bring Noah's favorite whatever,
but that's
Esther's
usually,
favorite whatever.
But that's usually like they tell us, like, can I please just bring this?
Or
like,
they'll
can I bring this thing?
Or they'll just say, I am bringing.
Yeah. That's been done sometimes. And it's usually by older ladies that really are like our grandparents. And so it's really fun to let them do that. But on the majority, we usually tell people, like, just come hungry and come ready to feast and to fellowship. And so what is that? You bring them to a place where they did not clean this house to come and sit. They did not prepare the food to feast. They did not. And so you're saying, look at what the Lord has given you. I'm showing you a picture of Christ. You're coming into a land that you did not cultivate. You're coming to a table where you did not prepare the food. Yet I'm telling you, I want you to come and I want you to feast with me. I want to get to know you. I want to serve you. And then what is that a picture of? Come and welcome to Jesus Christ. Yes. Like, this is what Christ, this is, and it's again what you're saying, like, this is a picture of the beans from our garden that we worked on all summer. Come and enjoy. We want to share this abundance with you. Look at what the Lord has done. And it's not a picture of us. It's a picture that is supposed to drive them to the ultimate goal of hospitality, is the picture of the gospel, and it's gratefulness. So you could see at the end of the verse, that is where, then it's like, it's supposed to drive you to thanksgiving and to gratefulness of like, Lord, thank you for friends like this. Thank you for food. Thank you for amazing food. Thank you for family. Thank you for fellowship. It's supposed to drive you to thanksgiving, and it's ultimately supposed to cause you to remember the Lord your God and to love him and to serve him and be like, look at what the Lord has blessed us with. Because the ending, hospitality is very important because, and you can tell because, food is prevalent throughout all of Scripture. It's like constant. And we're reminded of that with communion. Like the Lord said that he is he is the bread of life.
Well, even as like, once again, giving a picture of the future marriage supper of the Lamb.
I was about to say that. Yeah.
Are you finished, or?
Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. What I was thinking about was that there's a serious lack of gratefulness for what God has actually given. So I think because we live in such a prosperous nation, and we really did not have to work for a lot of our generations. Of course, there are generations that came before us that toiled and struggled, and by God's grace have handed us the gift, and the Lord has given us the gift of this nation, but we're not cultivating it well, so we're not continuing to seek the welfare of future generations, not in the fact that we just give them everything, but we're not thinking to have an inheritance to give to future generations or thinking generationally. And so, but we really don't understand all that we've been given from God. Mm-hmm. And so I think when you have that understanding, it's like, I've been given so much and I am so grateful, and I understand where this came from and the true gift and grace that all this is, that I want to give you a piece of that. I want this to overflow now into your life, and I want to bless as I have been blessed. And so that's really sad that we don't have the love. We don't love the Lord with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and therefore we don't love our neighbor as ourselves.
And the worst thing is that not the worst thing, but one of the really bad things about it is that if you're not willing to show that to other people, you're not willing to show that to your family. And so it's like, especially, I feel like this is very important for Christians, and I'm assuming that our audience is mainly a Christian audience, is that we're not showing our kids, taste and see that the Lord is good. And you know what I mean? We're not doing that for them. We're not serving them in such a way where it's like, come and welcome to my table. It's usually like, well, I can't believe, my kid asked me what was for dinner, and how dare they ask what was for dinner?
How dare
Don't they know?
3 meals a day.
You're hungry again. And it's funny. Sometimes we often joke with Mom. She'll prepare Sabbath dinner for us, and she works usually all day to get the meal on the table. And then it's gobbled up in like 2 hours, because we talk a lot at the table, which I love. It's really fun. But it's like dinner's over in 2 hours, and we ask Mom, like, well, how was that, knowing you prepared a meal all day? And it's like, it was feasted over for just 2 hours, and that was all you got out of it, and now it's gone. And she'll often reply with like, it was worth it.
Well, it's an investment.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't think about it just only in business terms, but I think it's helpful for some people that you're investing in the souls of your children, or the souls that are around your table. And that is, table fellowship is culture building.
Yep. And I heard a lady say, I think it was Nancy Wilson, actually. And she was referencing this, or she was talking about this in reference to laundry, but I would say it would apply with hospitality as well. And I could be getting the episodes muddled from her Femina podcast. But she was talking about how, if you fold someone's laundry and you're grumbling and complaining about folding laundry, then it's like, remind yourself that, you know, you're folding that shirt for Christ. Like, if you were folding Christ's shirt, how would you fold it? If you were folding laundry for the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, how would you fold that laundry? And it's like, you are. And so it's when you, and again, going back to that passage where it was talking about Christ on the judgment day, Christ is telling people, like, they say, Lord, Lord, and then he's like,
depart from me, I never knew you.
Yeah, but not that part. I'm not talking about that part of that. But when he's talking about I was hungry and you gave me no food.
I was just reading that.
And it's like, I was naked and you gave me no clothing. And it's like, Lord, when did you? And it is apparent in that passage that it's the strangers, like it's the neighbors. It's love thy neighbor as thyself, and they didn't. And so it's like, when you don't love your neighbor as yourself, then you're not loving God. And it's like, the people that made it into heaven were the people where it was like, if a stranger needed something, you gave it to them. If your neighbor needed something, you gave it to them. And you gave it to them expecting no return. You just gave it to them. You gave out of the abundance. You gave what God has given you. You gave out of the abundance of what you've been given. And so, but I think that really ties in beautifully back to hospitality, is that if you knew that Christ was coming to your table, we're all Christians. If you knew that, if you and I are Christians, I'm assuming that most of our audience is Christians, but if you knew that Christ was coming to your table for dinner, how would you set that table? And we immediately all know we would decorate it very highly. We would make it beautiful. It would be a banger of a meal. Like, it would be a terrific feast.
A meal prepared for a king.
Yes. And so it's like, now, perfect. Now do that for your family. It's like, and I'm not saying every night break out the china, but I'm just saying, put in more effort. If hospitality, if you're getting so wore out by just hosting somebody, it shows you that muscle has not been exercised. Like, you have not exercised that muscle if you're getting wore out by hosting somebody once. And it's not like it is hard, and there is lots of things to be worked out. I think Rachel Jankovic has talked about this a lot. Like, hospitality really does work out a lot of things in you. Like, you're learning how to, like, the clock is ticking. You've told them come at this time. And oh my word, I'm still trying to get ready, and I haven't put on any makeup yet, and the clock is ticking, and they'll be here in 30 minutes, and somebody needs a diaper change and whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, there's times, I think we even had one, we were about to, like, people were literally walking in the door, and one of our pipes broke. Our kitchen sink pipe broke, and we were trying to clean up the water furiously. Like,
well, I think
it's like, what can you do?
Running, and obviously they
oh yeah, the dishwasher was running. Yeah, and it was funny. Praise the Lord, we got it all cleaned up. But it was like, people are literally like walking in, and we're like just furiously cleaning it up. Like, distract them at the front door. We're cleaning this up. We'll be done in just a second.
Show them the flower beds.
Take them outside. We'll be back in just a second. But it's like, you know, you're having to handle a lot of stressful situations where you're like, okay, I can either bear a really bad attitude, or I can just laugh at the situation. This is hilarious. This will be a funny story one day, and just move on and embrace the fact that it's like, you know, this was completely out of my control. I did not break the pipe. So it's like, the Lord decided that the pipe needed to be broken. And so you're like, oh, well. And so I think there are obviously things that you can work on that I think is important to work on. And so if you find it just really hard to bless your family, to host other people, I would say that it would definitely be a thing to, like, and obviously there are situations where it's like, it's just not the time. Like, but I'm just saying, like, if it's even difficult to just bless your family, then that shows you there's something wrong there. There's something that's not being exercised.
And probably it also has a lot to do with your keeping your eyes on yourself, or there's something you're wanting that you're not getting, or you don't feel seen, or whatever. But going back to that passage you were referencing, do you know where that bit what that comes off of? I made this connection the other day, and it was just mind-boggling to me.
That Deuteronomy 6 passage?
No, the one about where you gave a cup of water in my name. As much as you did it unto least of these, you did it unto me.
It's not coming.
The passage right before that is the parable of the talents.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So, like, are you stewarding what you've been given well? Are you turning a profit on what God is giving you for the benefit of the kingdom, for the good of others, and unto the Lord?
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just like so crazy to me.
Yeah. No, I think that's really, really good. Because, I mean, and we've talked about, I think, on the podcast before, it's like, if you're not going to, like, the Lord gave you those plates in your cabinet to use. If you're not going to use them, then why did the Lord give them to you? Why do you have them? If you're not going
it's a gift to use.
Yep. And I think that it really is, it blesses people. I think what you're saying, Alex, it's an investment. Like, hosting is an investment, and it should be super duper fun. Like, hosting for us, for our family, it is a lot of work, but it's fun. Like, music gets turned up, fun drinks are shared beforehand and afterwards. And it's like, it's just a really sweet time of fellowship and fun. And so it's like, now, sure, have we had some doozies? Of course. I think if you're practicing hospitality on any form of, like, and you're hosting people, then there are going to be some really funny stories that you could share. And we could share a lot. Maybe we should one day just start sharing some of our stories on hosting. But there are some really funny ones that you can get into. And you know what? They're great memories. Like, they're super fun. Like, and some of them are awkward memories that you're like, that was really weird. And I don't know where that night went. But you know, it's like, but we all can share that together. And our relationship grew. Our relationship with Christ grew. Like, learning how to just love people that, you know, you really don't think deserve love. But it's like, it's not like God commanded you to do this. God commanded you to serve. And God commanded you to love on one another. Like, that's part of one of the one another commands.
And it's a couple things. For one, yes, God blesses that obedience. Like, even if you may not realize it in the moment, or you may not see the blessing immediately, like, God blesses that obedience, even for the days of hospitality when you're like, Lord, I don't understand what that was for. There was no gratitude on their behalf. Like, what in the world was this for? And just being able to look back and be like, oh, well, that's what that was for. Or look at this blessing that flowed out. Like, I remember there was a story that there was a person, a lady, a mom, and she was going to be hosting a big group for dinner. And fairly large family herself, and at least according to worldly terms, so it was definitely more than just 2 kids. And so but they were going to be hosting this large group for dinner, and she was concerned about a little bit about spending all this money out of the budget in order to prepare food for all these people. And so just being a bit concerned, like, Lord, this is like, what in the world? This is a lot of money out of our family budget, whatever, and this is a lot of prep work. But she did it. She wanted the people that were coming over just to be blessed, to have a great time. Wanted to make sure there's definitely more than enough food for them, and then went over above and beyond. Just did such a great job of hosting them, making sure they felt welcome, making sure the kids felt welcome. And the Lord, through that obedience, no joke, blessed that food that she prepared for them. It carried over through the entire week for her family.
Wow.
So it's just like, in ways you can't even imagine, God blesses just obedience. Like, Lord, you see, you hear, you know, I want to honor you in this. I want to serve this family well. Do with it what you will.
Well, it's like
put it on the altar.
The woman with the oil.
Oh, where it never ran out.
Yep. It's like, make me a cake. And so she used the last bit of what she had. Like, literally, like, the last. Like, she was not giving of the abundance. She was giving out of what was left. And then it's like, the Lord, because of that, her oil never ran dry.
And that's the thing. I think a lot of people think, well, what, my house isn't built for it. We don't have the budget for it. And obviously there is wisdom. I think there's God-given wisdom to say when things are smart and when they aren't smart. So be wise with the resources God has given you. But it is amazing how out of the giving of what you have, even when it seems like, Lord, we might suffer for this, God blesses that in such amazing ways, even through, like, maybe you're going to suffer for a little bit, but you were obedient.
Yep.
And just a side note, I would like to put here, well, 2 things. One, that I don't know if it's common in all CREC churches. I know that several of the ones we've been in do like some sort of potluck or whatever. Even in Baptist circles, it's the whatever 5th Sunday lunch or whatever that's common. I think something important to say here is that is not an excuse for you to not have people into your home.
Yep.
The potluck after church on Sunday does not count as the only form of hospitality. Like, you can't say, I brought food to this, check, hospitality. Like, you have to be having people into your home.
Yep.
So, side note, another, that in,
I would say long term, like, there are obviously seasons where I know we've at least had as a family where we would say, you know, the hospitality is just the family because there's so much happening. It would end up hurting the family to have people over all the time.
Yeah, but
I would say it just can't stay there. Like, I would say a little respite because of this time,
sure,
the specific time frame. But it's not going to be a continuation of like, okay, I'm forever just going to say it's not the time for our family to be hosting people. I would say that's just where you've just got to ask the Lord for wisdom, is like, what kind of a stage are you in? And usually I would say, at least from the people that I know, or that I've heard about that have things like that where it's just not the time, it's their husbands usually saying like, we can't right now. Like, I'm just going to let you know, this is not on the table right now, just because of this scenario we're in as a family. But it's not a long break. It's not like this lasts for a year. It's right, like, this is, you know what I mean? Like,
a few weeks maybe.
Or like, you know, at the most, maybe like a few months or something. Like, this is just during this phase of life. This is no hosting for right now.
Sure.
And that's fine. I feel like we should give that caveat of like, that's fine. But on the regular, that should be a rarity. On the regular, you should be hosting people in your house. So sorry, yeah. Go ahead. I just want to give that caveat.
But it's in First Peter 3, I believe. Do you remember do you want to give the backdrop for First Peter, who the letter was written to? While I'm looking for this.
Yeah, so First Peter was written around the time of Nero, and if for those that would know about him, this is the really bad emperor that was burning the Christians at the stake and using them for his dinner parties, as candles for his dinner parties. They would light his lovely garden parties with Christian torches, and I even heard, I think there was one where it might have been from Nate Wilson, but I heard that he was saying that he would kind of dress like an animal, and then he would take bites out of the Christians, which is really gnarly. So yeah, that's the kind of guy that's the setting for what's about to take place. And this is like, so it's about to get really hard for the Christians.
Severe persecution.
Oh yes. But then again, the point is so they can spread out. God told them to spread out. And so this was an effort to spread them out, was, you know, when the persecution hits, some are called to stay and some are called to flee. And so this was in order to spread the gospel. But yeah, this is the time frame that this is surrounding this letter is Blessed Nero.
Yeah. So, and it's 1 Peter 4, actually. So 1 Peter 4, starting in verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Therefore be serious and watchful in your prayers. And above all things have fervent love for one another, for love will cover a multitude of sins. Be hospitable one to another without grumbling. And that's the crazy thing, that in the midst of all this persecution even, it's like, do you want to know what's going to bring unity, what's going to build the body, and what is going to be an aid to you during this time? Hospitality.
Yep.
Which is just wild to me, but it does truly bring, and not to say that always, you may walk away saying, yeah, we're not same with those people on certain occasions, but it really does bring a unity and it can aid the kind of build and fight culture building mentality in believers when you host another family in your home. And
that's not to say, I want to give the caveat here as well, that it's not to say, like, I know we've been bashing on paper plates. I know people that have hosted wonderful get-togethers with a large group of people that used a paper plate, and I felt welcomed. Mm-hmm. So I'm not, I thought that the hospitality was great. I thought that they did a great job. I'm just saying that, but there was other ways that they showed that they had thought about people coming.
Sure.
So like there was like tables, long tables set with, you could tell like there was different places set for each person, that there was decor on the tables, that there was like, there was decor hanging from, they had put up a pendant banner.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was like lots of like, I've known large parties where they ended up using paper plates, and I was it's not like down with the paper plates. It was absolutely fine. I'm just saying that the thoughtfulness was there. And I think that's the key, is like, are you showing them come and welcome to Jesus Christ? And if you're chucking them a stack of paper plates and throwing the silverware on the table, then that doesn't say come and welcome to Jesus Christ. And that doesn't say that you're welcome either. It more signifies, like,
this was a big chore.
Yeah, I could not be bothered to set your place for you, set your place setting. Like, I could not, that was too much for me to handle. And so here you go. Like, you can grab your own silverware and you can grab your own paper plate. And so that should not be the norm for Christians. And we've seen, just by thanks to our mom and dad for raising us in a house like this, and ultimately thank you to the Lord for convicting them of this, we just grew up in a house that was like, our parents were always hosting, pretty much. Like, there would be times where dad would be like, this is not a good time, but it didn't last. And there have been several different characters in and out of this house, and it's been there's been harder times, there's been more fun times, there's been lots of laughs at the table, and a lot of stories shared, and we've just grown in our relationship with each other and with the Lord. And the funny thing about it is we've seen the fruits of that. So like, when we have somebody over at our house, and let's just say people in our church, right? Just as we've grown up in different churches, as we would host people, like the next time we saw them, you could tell a relationship had been started. Like, there had been a friendship, like the friendship was planted at that table. Like, the seed had been put into the ground and it was already budding, and you could see like the little plants start to come up, and you're like, okay, there's something there that we can now cultivate. There's something there that we can work at, and waiting for the fruit to finally give its abundance. But there had been a change there that wasn't there before, like where there was kind of this awkwardness. Now it was this familiarity, and so we've often told each other, like, see it works. And I would say that sometimes, though, you don't see the fruit. Sometimes you plant the seed and the Lord moves you away from that place, and you never get to come back to that house where you once lived, where you planted that seed, and see what had sprung up from that. You never get to see the plant. You planted the tree, whatever it may be, and now it's huge and it's bearing fruit, and you never get to see it. And that's okay too. Like, some things are not for you to see. Like, that you planted that, and that was just for the Lord. You know what I mean? But what you didn't see was that tree then blessed this other family with the fruit that it was producing. Yeah. And so it's like, it continued to bless people on, but you never got to see it. And that's okay too. So there have been people that we've had over before, and we don't know where they are today. We don't know what they're doing, but we hope that night, that when they were sitting at our table, we hope that the overwhelming thing that stuck out to them was, the Lord is good. You know what I mean? And it's like, or even if they didn't know, that they couldn't necessarily pinpoint like what it was, right? That they would say, that was different. Like, I've never been hosted like I've been hosted that night. Like, I've never, that was different. And I don't know what it was, but that was different. And that's the kind of mark that you want your hospitality to be leaving. It doesn't matter, essentially, what type of a runner that you have on your table, what type of a table that you have, how many can fit at your table. It doesn't matter. Like, that's all material things that doesn't essentially matter. It doesn't matter what color candle you have. If you have dripping candles, do you have, LED candles? What do you like? That doesn't matter. the thing that matters is that did they see the Lord through your hospitality? That's the ultimate, like, could they see that?
And that's the one of the main reasons it's important also to start in your home, because especially if you're saying we're going to adhere to the standards of Scripture, like Kristen Cohen said this in her episode, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. What does that look like? And so you need to constantly be bringing your children back to Christ in everything. And so that's why it's so important. Once again, I believe it's also in Deuteronomy where it says you're supposed to show justice to the widow and fatherless and love the stranger, because you were once strangers in the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought you out of that. So it has to constantly be anchored to Christ. And that's when you have that foundation, that's how you can be cheerful in hospitality. Yep. It's because I know who I'm ultimately doing this for. And it's because the Lord, I was once a stranger. I've been saved by grace through faith. And so now, out of the abundance that God has given me and the Holy Spirit at work in me, I want to be an aid and a help and invite others to taste and see like the goodness of the Lord that saved a wretched sinner like me.
Yep. I've drank of the living water, and I've partaken in the body of Christ, and I want to give that to other people. I want to show them what that looks like. And I know that I have a reservation at the marriage supper of the Lamb, and so I want to show people, like, do you want a reservation at the marriage supper of the Lamb? This is but a taste of what that will be like. This is very minute. This is very small.
And if this is enjoyable in the midst of all the sin and the curse, right?
Then imagine what that's going to be like.
Exactly. So let's be striving for that, and whatever your budget, whatever it may, maybe you have mixed match dishes and different sets of silverware that you've collected from. It doesn't matter. Work with what you've got, honor the Lord, and seek to obey the Lord, be faithful, and God in His grace blesses that.
Well, I've heard of a girl that had was working, living in an apartment, and was in school, and she really couldn't afford much in her budget. So she was a single girl, and she had, I think it was like $5 maybe, and she just hosted some girls and presented them with Rice Krispie treats. And you're like, but she's obeying. She's giving what she has. And so it's like, that's what she has. And so we're not saying that if all you have is $5 and you make a batch of Rice Krispie treats that you're somehow sinning because you didn't bring out fine china. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is your command is to give of what you have and to show the world, come taste and see that the Lord is good.
And once again, the parable of the talents. Turn a profit on what you've been given, and God gives you more.
Exactly. So let's be hospitable women. And let's see how we can change the culture. Exactly. How Christ will change the culture through our simple obedience.
Yep. Yes and amen. All right. Until next time, everyone. Go be hospitable and go pursue feminine glory. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Feminine Glory Podcast.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Are you tired of being subject to the current trends at clothing stores? Stores that are offering you immodesty, high prices, and poor quality clothing?
The Feminine Glory store exists with, as Chesterton says, a resolution not to listen to fads, but to help women find cute and yet classy clothing.
The Feminine Glory store is a mom and daughter shop designed to bring women the type of materials that they need to beautify themselves, their homes, and their lives in a classic and affordable way that ultimately brings glory to God.
Women have been given the unique task of taking dominion by making things beautiful, and that ultimately reflects the truth, goodness, and beauty of our Creator.
Help us show the world what biblical beauty looks like. Head on over to feminineglory.store today, and you can shop our store. That's feminineglory.store.